Roughly 90% of your problems come from you not setting proper boundaries. Why? You're most likely worried about how the other person might feel if you're assertive or mean to them, which is understandable, but you're doing yourself more harm than good. So in this video, I'll talk about 3 easy steps that can help anyone set proper boundaries and get the respect that you deserve by only using your words. Let's get to it. But first, let me show you what happens when you don't follow these steps. I went to an all-boys high school. There was a lot of testosterone in the air. People were thinking that they were hot shit and acting all high and mighty. With that came a lot of fights that broke out. Some physical, but a lot were verbal. Most of the verbal arguments that occurred came from people invading other people's personal space by using their words. They would talk about something that was sensitive to that person, and that person would be hesitant to call them out on that. They were hesitant to tell them that whatever that they were talking about was really uncomfortable for them. And all it really takes is one bad day for someone to make a regrettable mistake. Being able to recognize what doesn't sit right with you immediately is the first step. As humans, we tend to make compromises on our wants and needs in order for us to not look soft or look like we complain a lot to a lot of other people. But the truth is, if something doesn't sit right with you, and you don't want to engage in a conversation or talk more about the topic, then you have all the right to dislike it and tell the other person that you don't feel comfortable talking about it. I think we forget that that's a right that we have as humans. For example, I've heard conversations multiple times in high school about some dude talking about someone's mom or someone's sister in a sexual way as a joke. The guy making a joke may not think that it's a big deal, but the person on the opposite end, the person on the receiving end, they might have a different view on it, and it may cause issues down the road if not addressed immediately. For some people, it may not bother them, but for others, it's a trigger point. And what you have to do is just literally say, hey, I don't feel comfortable talking about this. Hey, I don't feel comfortable with you talking about my sister or mom like that. That's all you have to say. Now, if they're a good friend of yours, I want you to give them a compliment first. Give them a compliment of how good of a friend they are, and then deliver that second line. What that does is try to brighten up the mood before you deliver that second line. Then that person will know that you're serious and you don't want to talk about that topic ever again. They'll come to the realization that a topic is not worth discussing anymore, especially around you. The anxiety of knowing that you have something to do that can potentially change your situation prevents a lot of people from taking action immediately. It's too scary. But it doesn't have to be scary, especially if you have the right guidance. So this is a reminder to click the link down below for a free one-on-one call with me if you want to take your social skills to a whole nother level. I already had a couple guys reach out to me and I want to talk to you even more, so don't forget to click that link down below. So I want you to imagine a scenario where you actually deliver that line to a person you're trying to set boundaries with. Say a person at work is talking about something political and you don't want to engage in a conversation with them. So you say, hey Darren, I know you love talking about politics and whatnot, but personally, I don't feel comfortable talking about that with you. Then I want you to envision how awkward and tense the silence between you and Darren will be after saying that. That's the fear that's holding everyone back from setting proper boundaries. And this is where the second step comes into play. You have to listen, confirm, and then thank them. It's a 3-parter, but it's a second step. You need to wait and listen for their response. Confirm that they understood you and understood your intentions, and then thank them for being so understanding. Thank them for respecting your wishes. So what does this do? This gives the person that you're attempting to set boundaries with time to assess the situation properly, time to process it. And they'll be in a shocked state, which will put them in a fight or flight mode. So the response will either be passive or combative. If it's passive, which is good, you'll most likely get a, okay, sounds good, no problem, sorry about that, as a response, and then you thank them for understanding. But when it's combative, then you're getting questions like, why didn't you mention this earlier? Why is this all of a sudden a problem now? This is where you need to stand your ground, explain your reasons, and stand on it. Darren, I just don't like talking about political issues at work. That's all you're obligated to say. Say that in a neutral tone, and don't let your emotions get the better of you, even though Darren's emotions are running wild. So we got this far into setting proper boundaries. Darren was talking about politics at work, you didn't like it. You addressed it immediately, waited for his response to see if your intentions were understood, and now he's giving his response. You got the passive response, and you got the combative response. Now it's time to move on. That's the last step. We all know those people who try to get the last word in every conversation or argument that they're in, just so they can feel good about themselves. Those people are annoying. There's nothing worse than getting heckled at a sports game and you choose not to say anything to be the bigger person, but the person just keeps yapping and you keep getting heckled. See, that's the risk you take with setting boundaries. There's a 50% chance that you get into a heated argument with an adult with the temper of a 2-year-old. But it's okay. Once you set your boundaries, realistically, all you're obligated to do is just say your piece and move on. Move on from the conversation because you said all that you needed to say. You got that off your chest. Unless they want to talk about it like civilized adults, which is highly unlikely, there is nothing more you're required to say after you said your piece. And the more they continue to bark at you, the stupider they look. And you'll look like a real hero amongst the crowd for saying what people were thinking, but were too afraid to say. That's where the respect comes in. And that's if you're dealing with a combative response. With the passive response of, okay, I understand you, moving on from that should be a piece of cake. There's mutual understanding and respect from both of you for each other. Respect for you for being able to man up and set boundaries with that person, and respect for the other person for being able to listen and not cause a scene. Now you guys can move on from this conversation, feeling content and with a newfound respect for each other, to probably go grab a beer and some tacos afterwards. But yeah, that's it for this video. If you found value in this video, make sure you like, subscribe, share to someone who needs to hear this. Remember to book a call with me if you want to take your social skills to another level. Other than that, make sure you develop a prodigy mindset and tackle your problems with everything you got. I believe in you. Take care. Peace.